Right, I kind of forgot that yesterday we learned that Satoshi accidentally galaxy-brained himself into making a literal Black Mirror scenario. Wonder if that series exists in the year 4000 and X. By the way, I don't bring this up just to make a glib reference to like, Black Mirror technological skepticism. I mean, this literally was the plot of one of the more popular Black Mirror episodes. Just throwing that one out there. So yes, can you detect point of no return vibes? If not, don't worry, because we're gonna get beaten over the head with them. Yeah, don't worry, Lynn, I don't think we're in a position to be telling Buggy anything. Hell, even if we were, I don't think we would.
I don't know why we would want to tell Buggy anything to begin with, even if we could speak.
It is a valid observation. Do you know what else is a valid observation? How did I not get this chest? Like, it's just been there this whole time. Anyway, welcome to the endgame. We've got some work to do. First of all, we're missing a couple of key components that we need. This isn't one of them. This is something else. Now, one of the endgame booster components that we're missing is the one from Autumn's Rise, and this is a kind of a weird one. I think we mentioned before that all of the components that you need to build the boosters are unique items found from exploring the given areas. And normally these aren't really that obscure to find. They're just around, and if you poke at things for long enough, you'll get there. But the Autumn's Rise one is weird for a couple reasons. One being that the branch that you're supposed to walk down to reach this other area doesn't actually show up as a door on the map. It's like an actual secret. And I don't know how I feel about it. It's some weird old school vibes to that one. Also, yeah, here's a one weird trick for if you really need to break something that's high up on a ledge. Our level 3 ice big number spike combat art attacks a pretty decent way up. So that's a pretty good workaround. So yeah, did anybody spot this? That gap in the fences is completely fair. It's always been that way. It's pretty validly telegraphed. But at the same time, nowhere else in the game really does this. Also, nowhere else in the game does this. These are Sapphire Ridge enemies. They are Sapphire Ridge level. you can come here when you're doing Autumn's Rise.
And presumably get owned?
Pretty much. It's not impossible for you to win, although it is impossible for you to win if you try to fight them through this gap, because I don't know exactly what's going on, but like watch what happens. Like what's with this? I know the terrain that's on the other side of that gap. That place up to the north where they're going does not lead around to the right. What is happening there? Does not make any sense. That said, if you do manage to defeat them through that gap in the wall, it will just lower all the barriers here, so that's nice, I guess. It's a slightly unofficial way of doing this. The official way, of course, involves a lot of weird jumping and a couple of trick shots. But, you know, what the hell else would you expect at this point?
Frankly, I would have been disappointed if that weren't the case.
Once you actually yourself get to the right side of this barrier, the fight just proceeds completely normally. And of course at this point we're well equipped to deal with spiders. And here's our prize. A portrait of ruin. But don't leave just yet. There's one last slightly weirdly concealed jumping path to go around here. That route up, again, it's not unfair or inconsistent. There's been other places in Autumn's Fall that have done that gimmick with the steps up the wall, but I don't know. Feels kind of vindictive here.
Gotta say, for an area called the Villa of Terror, that was pretty underwhelming.
Yeah. I get the sense that they were trying to go for some referential naming there and just kind of undersold it a tiny bit. Anyway, one other minor incremental change that's happened is now that we've done all of the plot in Gaia's Garden, the people in Verdeville are all suddenly a little bit less unhappy to see us. They have a smattering of extra dialogue, like, hey, it's that Seeker. Pretty standard video game stuff, actually. But it's still nice to see. Also, and far more importantly, there are all the chests. We're not going to lose sight of what's really important here. Even in retrospect, there's something about Verdeville as a location in the game that just kind of bugs me. It's like, it feels at the same time like it's too big and that there's not enough here. I don't really know why that is, because it's not like it's much bigger or denser or less dense than anywhere else. I don't know. One thing that is notable, though, is that there are traders here. I think I mentioned this before. There are some traders here whose deals are not replicated in Rhombus Square, and in particular, the guy who sells us metal for less other inferior metals than anywhere else in the game. So this is a great place to go if you want to trade for metal. I don't think anywhere else in the game has traders that have this kind of consideration applied to them. And of course, there's wave hookshot stuff here, just like there is all over the rest of it. Like, Gaia's Garden is just big. It's big and featured, and there is just layers everywhere. And it's definitely the most exhausting of the environments to clean out. Even after you come back here with everything and the full certainty that yes, you can now definitely get all of this stuff. It's CrossCode as all hell. Just don't forget to scour back over literally every single area. It's massive. The place is massive. Even when you've unlocked stuff, a lot of it is contingent on these little weird routes that are very, very specifically easy to forget about. Kind of a nightmare to find again. This place gives you the runaround. And, I don't know, I'm here for it. Insert the usual joke here, I guess. This specific jump is incrementally more difficult on the console ports because the aspect ratio is ever so slightly thinner on the consoles than it is on PC, which makes it just a tiny bit harder to actually notice that that last jump, that last green glowy bullshit is actually there. Fun facts. Anyway, we're definitely getting mileage out of the chest detector at this point. It's great for when you're running around actually already methodically going through screens, because, you know, when you get to a screen, it's like, hey, there's a chest here, and you can make a note of it. The problem with it is that it is absolutely useless for, given an area that there's like one chest in it somewhere and you have no idea even what screen it's on. It's a lot less useful.
Yeah, you would think that having it would mark them on your map, like, even just broadly.
Yeah. Something that this game needed to have was a much more comprehensive use of the map. And a lot more features. Anyway, now that we've fully explored Guy's Garden, we can get that man's shoes, which I mentioned before are pretty categorically not worth it, but yeah, what are you gonna do? Anyway, that's it. We've got all the boosters now. It is time to begin the endgame grind. I want gems, and I want them now. To put this in perspective, here's about how much effort it takes to deal with a hedgehog. They're level 55 now.
I mean, this doesn't actually seem that bad, all things considered.
Oh, no. Like, hedgehogs are still hedgehogs. They're still, like, you know, the most filler mob in the whole game. It's just that it does actually take some effort, and, like, that's with your whole party going at them with the good elemental stuff. And the balance on the boosters is such that the enemies still... new tech, by the way. The enemies still kind of broadly have the same progression to them, so the hedgehogs are still the easiest thing, and the goddamn samurai bugs and Sapphire Ridge are still the hardest. There's still a difficulty curve at work here. And you can overcome this stuff. These guys all scale up, so they're all dropping comparable EXP again. Here's that ledge hack again, by the way. But, yeah, it's time to grind. Enjoy a supercut of me just enjoying myself. And by enjoying myself, I mean liberally dropping a whole bunch of Scarlet Rains and Mjolnirs. I have declared war on the frame rate. Hang on, what? Oh right, we were doing this, weren't we?
Oh yeah, this is the guy who wanted us to break the game, right?
Yeah, and to come alone. Been waiting here in Maroon Valley this whole time. Okay, where were we? I have declared war. By the way, I equipped the infinite spiral drill for all of this, so I didn't gain any levels. But, fun fact, you remember I was saying that your party members get the XP that you do? So, Emily and Tronny have just jumped up to like level 66 at this point, and we're now like 8 to 10 levels below them. Anyway, I got the good equipment.
Does that really matter, though?
Not especially. It's also pretty easy to catch up. So yeah, I got some of the good equipment. The build that I've gone for is, like I said, is the skill point fountain. It's decently balanced with a slight tendency towards focus, but the important part is that we gain so many SP. And I love that. Yeah, we're a little ahead of you there, Apollo. Turns out he's a little bit ahead of himself. Yeah, it's just if only we'd have been able to see any of it. Oh, also, we can call Shizuka now. Yeah, once again, we're on the case.
I see that she takes a very optimistic view of early access.
You know, I kind of get the feeling that there's something else that we're being beaten over the head with lately, but I can't quite place it. Ah well, I'm sure we'll figure it out. Also, can you hear something?
Something is spawning and despawning.
Are you alright there, Shark? I thought that this was related to our quest to come here and break the game a bit, but it turns out that just a random glitching shark. Sure.
Sometimes you do a quest to break the game, and sometimes the game just breaks himself. Don't worry about it.
Now, by some tricks that you can use to get an avatar like this, we of course mean paying a bunch of money to the developers, while CrossCode is still on Indiegogo. But, actually mentioning that would be a little bit too meta for our purposes.
I mean, I feel like they totally could have worked in a bit where they were like, well see, if you got in early, Infotainment was selling these before the whole thing went to the public.
It's possible. I mean, we actually, now that I think about it, did kind of get that a little bit with the IHSO and the Henry quest. Because their whole deal was that I guess they did a bunch of white hat work on the servers. And Instatainment were like, sure, you wanna put yourselves in the game as a reward. And they ran with it. now I think about it, wasn't there one of the avatars in Vermilion Wasteland was trying to escape by doing this? Imagine if he'd been able to talk someone into helping him. Though, of course, the obligatory explanation for why you can't actually do this anywhere else than this quest.
Sergey has very strong opinions about level design, I see.
Oh, you don't know the half of it. But yeah, I have a very spicy question to ask you. What if bad game design deliberately?
I mean, I feel like they've already come dangerously close to walking that tightrope more than once.
And of course, I am once again here to fulfill my ongoing duty of informing you that this actually isn't as bad as it sounds, because it turns out that these actual IRL developers like Radical Fish are actually pretty good at doing bad design deliberately, but in a way that kind of ends up still working and still making sense, even while it still has a sense of not really being consistent with what you would have hoped the principles are. Like, honestly, I kind of love this, and I always have to respect a developer who has not just the regular self-awareness of stuff that works and stuff that doesn't work, but the ability to create principles and then design those principles into the game and have them actually be acknowledged in the game, and then broken in the game in a way that still upholds the real principles. Like, it's a hell of a balancing act to pull off. And in fairness, I think we can argue a little bit over whether or not this whole thing succeeded at that. But I can always respect a developer who makes a good show of trying.
I mean, this doesn't actually seem that bad.
Right? But it's just that you look at it, and it's like, this is a mess, this is a perspective disaster, this is some kind of artistic catastrophe, lining some of this stuff up.
And, I mean, it is, to be fair.
But then you actually go and deal with it, and somehow it all works. Like, it's real. It's a real one. A couple of these shots are a little bit iffy, but yeah. Overall, the whole proposition works.
Yeah, this is just... like, this is bad, but it's just, like, inoffensively bad.
So it's funny that you bring that up, because it's now time for a teleport maze. And if there's one thing that I happen to know about you, it's that you can always appreciate a good teleport maze in a video game. I think we have a very deep respect for this game design conceit.
Man, it's not even disjointed. What kind of cowards are these?
Yeah, there's no loading screen in between each room. But, like, once again, yeah, they're doing this thing. Nowhere else in the game tries to pull any bullshit like this. They've gone and done this thing where they channel some bad game design archetypes, and they do just enough work to make the overall proposition just kind of even out in the end. Because, I don't know, you listen to me ramble on about this stuff going on for long enough, eventually you will hear me say several times that players will forgive pretty much any flaw in a game if it gets out of their way fast enough. And teleport mazes are shit, but this is a teleport maze that doesn't hang around. Despite what it is, it has a pretty good grasp of the demands that it's placing on your time. It knows roughly what to do with itself. And you can get lost, but it has a way of evening itself out in the end. I actually did overcomplicate this a little bit for myself by just hitting a couple switches a few too many times. This is the configuration that you're supposed to have. Not this. Whoops. Don't worry though.
Like, in a lot of ways, I'm glad that it's not actually bad, but I will admit I'm a little disappointed to have, you know, the game remark about how bad it is, and then it's just whatever.
This last bit with having to line up this last teleport is pretty much the closest that this bit comes to actually being bad. And I think they did kind of labour it a little bit, for what I think were ultimately good reasons. And also, like, if you look, you can actually see all of the teleport origin points. There actually is sand dripping out of the sky in all the landing spots. Now this is giving me a vibe.
Ah, I see we're doing some Roku blocks.
So, definitely not a platforming vibe that you invoke accidentally, this one. And naturally they stick a little puzzle in the middle of it. Not that it's much of a brain teaser once you actually try shooting the switch at least once. Just a tiny bit of a fuck-up. So yeah, jump attack dash cancels. Actually a thing in CrossCode. You've seen me do the weird shield dash jump that gets you a tiny bit of extra distance on a jump. But you can also do this other thing that more or less requires a keyboard. I don't do it myself, but you absolutely can. Anyway, what if we concluded our ironically terrible game design exploration with an ironically terrible boss battle? I leave that as an exercise to the viewer to try and infer backwards what the CrossCode or what the Crossworld's design principles actually are. Because I gotta hand it to them. This guy really pisses me off for reasons that I can't fully articulate. And I don't know how I feel about that fact. Now, to be clear, it starts out instantly enough. They go for a lot of cheap giggles here with it firing animals out of a gun and it making these comedy cat noises. But this stuff can actually get pretty overwhelming pretty quickly. Like, this guy's not fucking around. Fortunately, neither am I, which is why I've started remembering that God Sphere exists again. But yeah, he has this trick where his vulnerability comes out of doing this one particular attack, and that one particular attack also just catapults you pretty much the whole way across this platform if you get hit by it. and if you get hit by it, you are basically not getting in any hits on him. It is very annoying to have that happen.
Honestly, I don't really know what to make of this whole thing.
Yeah. Then he starts doing this bullshit, where several pairs of eyes appear and only one of them is real and the rest of them will explode. I didn't want to deal with that, so I broke out Karma Scale again and actually managed to hit him with it. That's pretty good. But the tell here is that the right pair of eyes always has the same expression, but also if you land an elemental status on him, then only the real one will have that. Also, if you break out the Seeker sensors, only the real one will have the level readout on it. So not entirely unfair.
So Sergei is so vindicated by the fact that you killed that thing. He's just like, thank fuck, nobody ever has to see that thing again.
Anyway, I guess I should observe that that guy's name is literally "Don't use this." But yeah, we do get an actual reward from this. Not from the game, but from Kit. And it's a moderately interesting pair of shoes that I personally don't use, but I imagine that they can be, you can probably have a lot of fun with them. Here's the deal with them. They've got momentum and an extra dash, so you can do a quadruple dash followed by a really powerful hit. And that could be a lot of fun, but personally I don't think it's a lot of fun as just continuously firing off level 3 techs, so here we are. My hands are tied.